baby, I should.
So after all these kettlebells and coffees that I've recorded, this is going to be the first one that I do without facial hair. Can you dig it? The good news is the coffee still tastes the same, if not even a little bit better. But enough of me, let's talk about you. You most likely heard of the term abs of steel, the exercise routine abs of steel, right? Well, what I would want to say about that is it's probably as outdated as the same VHS player you used to play those tapes to do those exercises. And I'm going to tell you why it's so outdated. But first, let's talk about abs of steel. Why is abs of steel attractive? What makes you want to have abs of steel? You look at the qualities of steel, right? It's hard, it's durable, right? It's strong. So I get that. People want abs of steel because of that. However, a lot of those exercises that promote abs of steel, unfortunately, fall short when it comes to things that the real world demands of your core. I see too many people that do these abs of steel exercises, which really include countless amounts of ab crunches, holding yourself in planks for so long, doing these Russian twists where you're adding unnecessary torque to your spine. You know, this goes on and on. But these same people that build these gym abs, there's no carryover to real life. They bend over to pick up a pencil, snap, there goes their back. They avoid certain movements because they're really worried about how their core, their lower back will handle such movements. So why would you try to achieve those abs of steel when they don't actually make you strong for the real world? I like to call it abs of copper. Abs of copper. Why abs of copper? Because if you look, steel's a lot more hard, copper a little bit more soft. But I'm not going through the qualities of the metal as much as I am doing the conductivity of those metals. Steel is a very poor conductor when it comes to heat and electricity. So when I look at that being energy, steel doesn't conduct very well. Copper conducts very well, and that's what you want. You want those abs to be conductors. Now, how can you tell? How can you tell if you're training your abs for copper or if you're training them for steel? When you're working in the abs of copper department, your fitness routines are seamless. They're fluid and they're effortless. That's the key. Even when you're doing something that's very strenuous and it's very hard for you to do, somebody should be able to look at it from the side and be like, wow, that looked really easy. Are you gripping and ripping? See, that's abs of steel right there. That's relying on your arms to do the exercises, leaving your core, your abs of steel, out of the equation. So it's not just ab exercises, it's a whole different state of being, a different state of mind when it comes to your workouts. When I just exercise, I'm just working basically body parts. And that's where the abs of steel come in. That's that mentality. I'm going to save my abs for the end of the session. But then, of course, to get to the end of the session, what do you think? Whew, I'm too tired. I'm just going to skip my abs today, right? No. Abs of copper. It's all one package deal. And that's going to translate better into the everyday life. Because when you work in the abs of copper, you're working on movement efficiency. And that movement efficiency, it ultimately gives you movement strength. And that's what you want. Real life demands movement strength. Real life does not demand strong biceps. Biceps aren't going to save your life. Biceps are not going to save your back. What's going to save your back? A high-functioning core. Ready for everything. Because life throws so many things out at you. Why would you train for anything less? This is Babyface Cripe checking out. Until next time.